Hey everybody, Kevin Crouch here. I'm coming to you from my bathroom, and you're probably wondering, why am I talking to you from my bathroom? Well, you have a valid question. I'm here to talk to you about safe spaces that you can shelter from severe weather when you're at home. For the most part at home, I'll talk about other places as well, but I am here in my bathroom because this is the safest place in my house. There is not a single exterior wall around me. This wall here goes to my living room. This wall goes to the bedroom. The wall behind you, the door behind the camera there, goes to the hallway, and then the wall behind me, there's another bathroom that goes kind of behind that. So this is completely insulated from the outside walls. And the good news is that, if a tornado does come through, this room is relatively safe. And this is a predominantly a brick and mortar house, so it's pretty stable. And but I understand that not everybody has these circumstances, so I want to talk a little bit about kind of what you can do to be prepared in those different situations. We talked about this a little bit last night when we had storms rolling through. Different folks were in different situations kind of wondering what they can do to stay safe. One of those things that people talk about a lot is manufactured homes and mobile homes and those sorts of things. Those are just not safe in a severe weather situation. I'm sorry, they're just not. But the good news is that, there are other places usually around you that, you can go to kind of ride out the storm. I've heard a lot of folks say that they may have a neighbor or a friend that lives nearby, maybe a family member with a more structured home. And if you don't, I would encourage you find a house that's by you, or a structure, a safe structure. Make friends with some folks, and maybe just have an agreement. I may never, need to come over here, but if a severe weather situation comes over, can I go to your place and that sort of thing. The other thing is that a lot of the times, these communities that have a lot of those manufactured homes are going to have a location where people can go and find shelter. My understanding is that I think from time to time, the town of Italy, I think they use the Dome from time to time as a safe place. I don't quote me on that. I'm going to look further into that. But I know that, from time to time they have used that. I don't know of others in the county, but maybe that's something that we can work on, is finding those places, identifying those places that are close to those neighborhoods, where we could possibly have shelter for those folks who are in unsafe structures, where they can go. But if you are in a home that's mostly brick, even just siding, and you have an interior first floor room to go to, or at least just the room that's closer to the center of the house, even if it has an exterior wall, just go to the middle of the house and try to be as enclosed as possible. There's no windows in here. You want to try to avoid windows if you can. If you can avoid it, maybe just find a space with a small window. You don't want large windows, because if that glass breaks, that can be very dangerous. So let's assume you're in a space like this. You've either gone to someone's home that has a room like this, or you have one yourself. I had the bathtub and shower kind of covered behind me. It wasn't clean enough for me to feel good showing it off, but we have those. We have that space, and what you do is we go into the bathtub. We kind of put a towel down under us, right, and then usually we'll get blankets to put above us. You want a bicycle helmet on your head, or a hard hat, or something of that nature to cover your head in case the roof or some kind of debris comes down on you. You also want to think about cell phone chargers. Bring external batteries in with you. Bring maybe some water with you. Bring maybe a few snacks or something. You also want to have an air horn, okay? An air horn or something not electronic, that can make a lot of noise. Because if you have a terrible tornado that comes through your neighborhood and there's multiple structures damaged, you want those first responders to know for a fact that there's people here, they need help. So you want to have that. You want to have those essentials, the food, the water, those kind of things as well. And I'm sure there will be other things that I've missed that folks can mention in the comments as well. But those are the things that come to my mind as what you would need in a situation like this. Let's also talk about storm shelters. There are homes with storm shelters that are built in to the home. I think I've featured that before with Jimmy Porch once. There are also the ones that are outside, and they put them, into the ground. Sometimes they put them in your garage or an outdoor shelter of some sort or structure. A lot of the time they put them into the ground, and you have these in-ground shelters, and there's a number of different models there too. But it's a space where you can go down underground. It's steel reinforced, at least the door usually is. It's usually concrete or steel, and those things are rated by Texas Tech. Actually, they have a lab out there where they literally shoot 2x4s out of a machine at over 100 miles per hour to test these things and make sure that they're safe. So those are your options when you're at home. What about if you're if you're shopping, doing errands, you're somewhere else, right? You're in a store or a restaurant. Listen to the people that run the store, that run the restaurant. They're normally going to have an emergency plan in place. They're going to know where the best place is. If you're in a large store, you don't really want to be in the overall shopping area, right? The open area. You don't really want to be there because you're a little more exposed just in a broad area. You want to find a smaller space, a bathroom maybe, or an office, something of that nature, where it's a little more tightly constructed, and there's going to be a little more support around you to keep things up. So that's what you want to do in those kinds of situations. If you're at church, usually your church is going to know the best place. At the hospital, they certainly do have a plan in place, a doctor's office as well, the same thing. And what if you're in a high-rise building, in a hotel, first floor? That's your first priority. Where you go from there is up to usually check with the concierge desk or whatever staff you can find. Get on the first floor. That's the main thing. Is you don't want to be on an elevated surface. You want to be as close to the ground as possible. Let's say you're in your car. Don't go under an overpass. If you watched the live stream last night, you would know I went on a whole soapbox rant about don't get under an overpass. Number one, if you're in a tornado, that's going to cause a wind tunnel effect, right? If it's a hail situation, a lot of the times people shelter under those. You're impeding other people trying to get to safe places, and you're impeding first responders who are trying to go help. Don't get under an overpass. If it's a hail situation, you want to pull over, and if you can find, if there's a place to go, great. If you're in the middle of West Texas, there's nothing around you, then pull over your car, shelter in place, and cover up with whatever you can. That's the best I can offer you. If there's a tornado coming, then you don't want to stay in your car. You want to either, like I said, find a shelter to go in, a business or a church or something, even a house. If you're right by a house, run up, knock on the door. Hey, can I get in here and not lose my life or be injured? Usually people are going to be generous enough to let you do that. If there's nowhere to go, again, out in West Texas, you got field, trees, grass, cows. That's it. You're really in West Texas, you don't even see trees. It's just nothing, right? Get in the lowest spot on the ground. Get out of the vehicle. Go lay down on, usually in West Texas especially, you're going to kind of have fields and then the road kind of rises, right? The road kind of is on a little ridge. Get down next to that ridge on the lowest spot. That's what you want to do. And you're thinking, why do I want to be outside when there's a tornado coming? Well, if you're on the lowest spot, you have the best chance of being insulated from some of those winds, right? So that's the best option to give you there. So, but if you're at home, a space like this is going to be really the best plan you have. And if you are in a manufactured home or a mobile home, go find another place. And the last thing I want to say is that you may not always need to shelter from tornadoes. Sometimes you're going to be sheltering from damaging winds or large hail. If you're by windows, large hail, you don't really worry about that coming through the whole roof and everything. I mean, it can go through your roof, but through the ceiling and everything, usually you're not going to have to worry about it like getting in the house, right? But windows can be a threat, so you want to make sure that you're away from windows if there's large hail. There's damaging winds and you're in a manufactured home. It can do damage to those too, those mobile homes and manufacturers' homes. So again, I would say go find someone. If there's severe weather forecasted, say, hey, can we spend the day together? Or if you can go into town, if there's a place you can go, even if it's a place of business maybe where you can go, and even if you use a day off, go into work, you're at least safer there, right? You can get some extra hours, who knows? But those are the bits of advice that I have to give you on sheltering in place. I'm sure I'll have more on this in future segments of the Tuesday Tips, but this is one of the most important things to talk about in spring. Just last night, we had a couple close calls with some circulation moving through Ellis County, and we were talking about those safety plans, right? This is the time to get your safety plan in place, and if you have any questions, feel free to comment those, and I'll do my best to respond. So thank you so much for tuning in. Hope you guys have a great day, and take the time this week. The forecast looks beautiful. Take the time this week to work on that safety plan for you and your family.